I can be a little bit obsessive about productivity. Getting the most out of the day is pretty huge to me. Andrew Huberman is a neuroscientist from Stanford University. He has a really cool podcast called Huberman Lab, and he's been pretty present in the scientific community, in the public eye. So he has a morning routine that is science-backed to allegedly optimize your wakefulness in the morning and then your sleepiness at night, as well as your productivity during the day and your overall well-being. So of course I had to try it, you know. Waking up between 5:30 and 6:30 is going to kickstart your body's circadian rhythm, and that is the biggest theme with this entire routine. It's very science-based, it's very logical and based on your biology. And your biology has a 24-hour clock with all these different systems that are gonna work together to do the right things at the right times. And that starts with waking up. When you wake up, as soon as possible, you want to drink a big glass of water. This is gonna help you hydrate from the night. Every system in your body needs water. You probably lost some fluids during the night from going to the washroom or sweating during your sleep, so it's best to rehydrate and set your body up right for the day. Now, the next thing that Dr. Huberman recommends is something called yoga nidra, or non-sleep deep rest of some kind. Now, what that means is doing some sort of breathing or meditation exercises that are going to help you reach a more calm and meditative state of mind. It doesn't have to be meditation per se in the strict sense. You can do some breathing exercises or something that works for you, but I've been meditating for a couple of years now, and so it just made sense to slot that in for that piece. Exposure to natural light in the morning is the best way for you to sync up all of the systems in your body. Damn, that is crazy sunlight exposure, man. Andrew would be proud. When natural light enters your retinas, it tells a part of your brain that controls the hormones in your body to release a bunch of cortisol. And this cortisol helps you wake up. Throughout the day, you're going to get this cortisol pulse at some point. But if you're not exposing yourself to natural light early enough in the day, you're gonna get it later, and that's gonna affect your sleep at night. So in order to set things off right and get the clocks in your bodies all on the same page, this is very important, because this hormone is gonna tell your systems, okay, it's morning time. Even on days that the sun wasn't actually out, it's still much better than artificial light. It still works much better than viewing light through a window. Just getting outside for even 10 minutes, whatever you can manage, is really huge for your overall mood. If you can't get access to direct sunlight, like if you live somewhere where you only get a couple of hours of sun per day, or you wake up really, really early for your job, it's different, but you can do what you can to simulate that experience of getting natural light. So if you can turn on all the lights in your house. Now, obviously you shouldn't be staring directly at the sun. It's just having the sun in your periphery somewhere and getting that natural light, if you can, is gonna be huge. Okay, I'm gonna get a little spiritual here, but I feel like the sun just provides for us all the time. All of the energy that circulates throughout the earth comes from the sun. And it's been a while that I've just not had any gratitude towards the sun and nature. And so getting up and spending just 10 minutes outside makes you feel that kind of gratitude for light, for warmth. Even from a non-scientific perspective, I definitely recommend that. So the next thing we gotta do is stretch. Let's get limber. So stretching is great. It's gonna help relieve some of the tension. Maybe if you slept weird during the night, this is gonna help relax your muscles, increase the blood flow, get things feeling kind of ready for the day. Now, exercise. One of the key concepts that drives this entire morning routine is that your body has peaks and dips throughout the day of its core body temperature. When you're sleeping, your body temperature dips, and during wakefulness, it'll go up again. So in the morning, when we're trying to get things going and get our systems revving, what we want is to increase that core body temperature. That's something that exercise does, is it gets your blood flowing, it gets your systems working, and it increases your core body temperature to increase wakefulness in the beginning of the day, so that later on, it'll be easier to fall asleep because your temperature will have an easier time going down. However, I hate working out in the morning, so this sucked. For me, I get a lot of task anxiety in the beginning of the day. So I wake up and I think, oh God, I have to do this work, I have to do this project, I have to do my laundry, I have to cook, I have to blah, blah, blah. There's so many other high yield activities that I could be doing instead of this that I just feel anxious and I don't really focus on the working out. So I personally prefer to work out in the evening, but for the sake of the routine, I did it. Okay, I do see the reasoning and the science behind it, but personally, it just doesn't work for me. I prefer in the evenings. Keeping with this theme of regulating the core body temperature. Any kind of cold exposure is gonna do this, but if you shower in the morning, this is the best freaking thing you can do. It's what it sounds like. You just want to take a cold shower. We want to get everything revving in the morning. It might be a little counterintuitive, but exposure to the cold is actually going to get your heart working harder, get your system to increase that core body temperature, which is what we want to do in the morning. Even if you don't know the science, you know that that's going to wake you the hell up. I'll be honest, the very first couple seconds of this suck, but once you get past that 15-second mark, that 30-second mark, actually really nice. I know for like productivity people online, they'll say stuff and it just sounds tone deaf. You're like, are you crazy? But you gotta hear me out. That once you start getting used to it, it feels really good. It brings you right into the present. You just have to focus on your breathing and the sensations that you feel of the cold. It's really invigorating. I guess it's not for everybody, but to me, I kind of really like this, so I might be taking this forward in the future. I mean, no morning routine would be complete without addressing your nutrition. So, healthy breakfast, it's good for you. There's not much to say on that, just eat a good breakfast. Especially in this like productivity space, there's a lot of different people who will say intermittent fasting works for them, or they have certain diets. I think this kind of goes without saying, if you're gonna take this much care over your body with this cold exposure and exercise and blah, 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 you wanna make sure you're giving it the right fuel. So healthy breakfast is important. Make sure you have like a balanced diet, get enough protein in, get a mix of like your carbohydrates and fats in the right proportions. And yeah, take care of your body, put the right stuff in there. So I don't personally drink coffee. I just never got into it because I crashed so hard. It's just not worth it for me, but I know a lot of people do, so it's important to talk about it. So what happens in your brain when you're tired, there's this stuff called adenosine that builds up in your brain, and it takes time during sleep to get all of that cleared out of your brain so you don't feel tired anymore. Now, when you don't get enough sleep, let's say you wake up after a bad night of sleep, you still have quite a lot of adenosine in your brain. Now, after waking up, your brain will still continue to clear that out and help you feel a little bit more wakeful. But what caffeine does, it'll block the receptors in your brain for adenosine. And so you won't feel tired anymore, but there'll still be a lot of adenosine buildup in your brain. So it won't get a chance to clear those molecules out. And then when the caffeine wears off and those receptors open up again, you're still gonna feel tired as they bind to the receptors. So that's where you get the crash from. Dr. Huberman's recommendation is to avoid caffeine first thing in the morning. If you can just survive for a little bit and let your brain do its thing, clear up some of the adenosine, right? Then you drink coffee, your crash won't be as bad because your brain has had a chance to clear some of this debris of your tiredness. So these last two I combined together. They're journaling and setting goals. This one was one of the best ones in the routine because I felt like I'd gone through so much trying to just get this routine done that by the end I was like, man, F my life. So it was good to just literally have an outlet to be like, F my life, I hate this routine, and then feel a little bit better. Write a little bit, about how I'm feeling, what's going on, what thoughts are going through my head, and then set a couple of goals for the day. So it felt good to just like clear the working memory and be able to shift gears. What am I going to get out of this day? Like I said, a bunch of tasks start just like popping into my head in the morning. If I can just write them all down, then I can look and see, okay, these are the 3 most important things for today, right? And that is definitely very helpful. But yeah, that is the structure of the morning routine. It's a lot. In terms of the routine holistically, I think it's way too long. For me, it felt a lot like a laundry list rather than actual activities that I wanted to do. Despite the fact that there are so many helpful activities in here that are going to add to your day, it's just not feasible for most people on the average week. If you've got kids, if you've got a full-time job, I would get up most days around 6:15 and I wouldn't be ready to start my tasks for the day until maybe 9:15 or so. That I felt like it was all or nothing. But if you spread these out during the week, I feel like you'd have an easier time being, okay, today I'll do the cold shower. On Tuesday and Thursday, I'll exercise in the morning. And then maybe on Monday, I set goals for the week. And on Friday, I review those goals for the week. Like, these are still really good habits and practices that you can do, but doing them every single day, I feel like you're gonna burn. Biggest takeaway is do something that works for you. You can start with one of these videos like this where you just try it out. Implement small things at a time so you can keep up the habit. Don't try to do everything at once for you. Like exercising in the morning, not for me at all. I see the benefit and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work for me. So do what works for you. So if you're doing all of these things, but you still feel stressed as hell, you don't feel good, you feel exhausted and guilty, it's not worth it. There's no point to it, right? You want to do these things to make your life better, and that includes your mental well-being. Just be mindful, be careful with it, and do what works. I am honored to be your guinea pig, and and I appreciate watching. I'll catch you next time. See ya!